Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you'll be listening to a hypnosis session that utilizes parts therapy, also known as ego state therapy or parts integration therapy, for someone that had severe anxiety when it came to flying. And what was really interesting is that although she had very high levels of anxiety when it came to flying, one of her family members actually really had excitement and enthusiasm for flying. And equally, she could recall a time in her life, an area of her life, that she could be really composed and confident in a situation where there were lots of variables outside of her control. So what you're going to hear in this hypnosis session is an element of parts negotiation and parts integration, so that the part that can be resourceful is leading the way at the very point where she's thinking or actually, thinking about flying or actually flying. And the part that was trying to keep her safe by worrying about variables she wasn't in control of was actually more worried about making the most of the time of, whatever she could do when she was actually at the destination that she was flying to. Because you can be resourceful in different ways. And a lot of anxiety comes down to a false belief system, a fallacy that worrying is helpful. Worrying about things, particularly if you can't control them, is going to be advantageous. And the interesting thing is that it is in certain context. And that context is if by thinking about variables that you can't control, you then make preemptive steps to counter those variables, then worry can be very useful. So worrying about, have you packed all the right clothes for a particular trip? Well, that can be helpful if it then makes you think about what clothes you're going to need. But worrying about flying isn't that helpful, because so many variables, not only can you not control, but you can't really counter either. The perception that this woman had, for example, was that when she thought about flying, she imagined this metal box hurtling through the sky, very high up, above oceans, above kind of land, and I said to her, if I thought about flying in that way, I would feel anxious. But not only do I not think about flying in that way, but most other people don't either. So therefore, the anxiety isn't necessarily proportionate to the level of risk or danger, but the anxiety is a reflection of how you're thinking about it. And how she was thinking about it was a part that was trying to keep her safe by thinking about it in the way that it was, and it clearly wasn't working. So she had this resourceful part. So you'll hear how we integrate that into the role, into the executive, that first person role of her flying. I think this will be useful perhaps for people that are afraid of flying, but obviously it was created for someone else, someone specific. So if you're listening to this and you have a fear of flying, worth clicking the link nearby where you can book a free 30-minute consultation call with me. I can explain how I would work with you as an individual. But this may be a useful session for you anyway. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just get a sense that any tension, any worries, slowly but surely are leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, notice that with your eyes closed, you're able to give more of your attention to the sound of my voice. I want you to get a sense that you are more resourceful than you realize. And sometimes we need to wake up those parts within us that have a capacity for so much more. Deep down, you know that you would do more for other people than you would do for yourself. Perhaps if someone wanted to harm someone that you loved, deep down you know there is an incredibly resourceful part that would do whatever it takes not to let that happen. And how many other latent parts are there? Capable, equipped, powerful, that don't normally get to have that control. I want you to get a sense that for a while now, there's been a part of you that has tried to keep you safe by focusing on things that you can't control. And by worrying about those variables that you're not in control of, it's just reminded you that there's so many things you're not in control of. And that loop continues and continues, because how can you control those things that you're not in control of? And yet most people don't worry about them. Most people accept that there are infinite things in the world that they're not in control of, and instead focus on those things that they are in control of. I want you to get a sense that you have powerful, resourceful parts in your subconscious mind, parts that are confident, parts that are resourceful, parts that do what needs to be done. And as you breathe in and breathe out, we're going to wake up those parts, because there is a powerful part of your subconscious mind that would love the opportunity to take you on a journey. But first of all, let's go to a relaxing, safe place within your imagination. I want you to imagine a place, perhaps near the countryside, near the coast, a place where you can feel safe. And when you're there, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Observe your surroundings. Feel your feet firmly on the ground, breathing in fresh air, exhaling tension, and just getting a sense that you're feeling deeper and deeper, relaxed now. Continuing to breathe in and breathe out. And I wonder what might happen if we gave that part that's been worrying, that part that's been panicking, that part that doesn't like to feel stuck, something else to do. I want you to bring forth that part that worries about flying, that part that thinks that flying is hurtling through the air in a metal box, that part that perceives that somehow you're trapped. And when that part is the part that I'm communicating with, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And I want to thank you for your amazing positive intention, because in many areas of your life, preempting the future is really helpful. Thinking of those variables that you're not in control of and taking preemptive measures is really useful. And I guarantee that you are preventing many problems, and you are able to cultivate a feeling of safety in so many different areas. And I don't think you intend to cause such feelings of anxiety, feelings of stress, feeling of overwhelm. I don't think you've intended to miss out on amazing opportunities, to impede freedom. I just think it's a natural consequence of you applying this strategy in this context. And I'm wondering if you would be happy for a different part, a more resourceful part, a more confident part to take the driver's seat on the very next flight. And you'll be aware of those other parts. And I'm wondering rather than you thinking about the length of the time, about not being able to sleep, about how you're going to feel, about being stuck and trapped. If you can give this responsibility of flying to someone else, a different part of that subconscious mind, a part that perhaps might even enjoy flying. And if you're happy for someone else to take the reins, just let me know by nodding your head. And I'm wondering if there's something that we can have for you to do during that flight and all other future flights, because you like to think about the future, and therefore you're uniquely equipped to think about things that haven't happened yet. And I'm wondering if you might enjoy the challenge secretly in the background of thinking of all the wonderful, amazing, positive things that you could do when you arrive at your destination. Instead of worrying what might not happen on the plane, you can worry about what might be missed out. All those amazing things that if we don't plan something and do something, then you could be in this amazing part of the world and miss out on amazing opportunities. And it doesn't mean you have to do them all, but isn't it worthwhile to consider as many amazing experiences and adventures as possible? And if you're happy to think about all the amazing things that you could do, not have to do, but could do when you get to the destination, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to imagine somewhere nearby, perhaps is a computer, a book, some kind of device that you could research. And I want you to imagine walking up perhaps to that desk or table and starting to research all the different amazing places that you could see, visit, do. And then allow that part to continue doing that. And then separate from yourself, walk away from that desk, seeing that part that wants to keep you safe, researching all of those amazing things in the future. I then want to bring forth a different part, a confident part, a resourceful part. There are two ways of dealing with variables outside of your control. There's the part that worries, and then there's the strongest possible part that can deal with whatever is going on. And I know there is an incredibly strong, resourceful, confident part. A part that if that part was in control, you would feel safe, you would feel looked after, you would feel a confident, nurtured version of yourself. And when that part is ready, and I'm speaking to that part, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. You've been watching from the sidelines, seeing a nervous part in control while you've been flying. And perhaps you've been waiting for an opportunity for you to be in charge. Knowing that while you're in the driver's seat, you'll focus on all of the resources that you have access to. And one of the most powerful ones is perspective. The perspective that people fly every day, that you have the resources to do this because you've done it before, you'll be able to do it again. But more importantly, that this is simply a stepping stone to something more important. What if flying is just a stepping stone towards wonderful experiences? Being able to create amazing memories. Because at some point in the future, you'll be looking back on your life. And wouldn't it be nice to look back on all of those amazing places that you've seen, all the most amazing things that you've done? At that point, however you got to those places probably won't even register in your memory. So forgettable, so mundane. It was just a vehicle to get you to exploring and experiencing amazing moments and memories. I want you to get a sense that this part is in control, and imagine what it would feel like for you at your most resourceful, you at your most confident, to be working just a few hours before your flight. Notice that the inner dialogue is completely different now. You might be thinking, the flight's going in a few hours. It's no big deal because you don't perceive it as a big deal. If anything, you perceive it as well within your capabilities. There's so many things you don't worry about. You don't worry about crossing the street. You don't worry about tying your shoelaces. Because there are so many things that are just within your capabilities. And flying is within your capabilities. I want you to get a sense that your inner dialogue is focused on what you can do rather than what you can't do. The tonality is that of optimism and positivity. I can handle this. This isn't an issue. In the framework of a lifetime, what is 14 hours? 14 hours in a lifetime is just the equivalent of 1 pixel on a TV screen, 1 leaf on a tree. Only 14 hours. Not a problem. I want you to accept the suggestion that your emotional state is a reflection of what you focus on, both internally and externally. When you focus on your belief that you can handle this, you feel better. When you focus on perhaps listening to music, watching a TV show, your emotional reaction is a reflection of that focus. And sometimes you might even feel that this is so easily within your grasp that you can't help but yawning. After a day of working and then going to the airport, wouldn't be surprising if you started feeling very sleepy, started to yawn, reclined your chair back, and your eyes just started to close. I want you to get a sense that it's no big deal to get to the airport. You can handle that. It's no big deal to check into a lounge, see the flights taking off, see them landing, giving you evidence. This is just a mundane thing that happens all the time. Boarding the plane with the inner dialogue of, I can do this, which means I can do anything like this again in the future. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. I can do this. I will do this. And what's more, I'm going to enjoy this. Because the moment that you find a way to enjoy the flight, all future anxiety disappears. Because how can you be anxious about something you enjoy so much? And maybe there's someone that you know that is evidence that that belief is true. That if you enjoy something, anxiety is impossible. I want you to get a sense that as you're boarding the plane, putting the buckle there on that seatbelt, connecting it, perhaps looking into a phone or some kind of onboard entertainment, I want you to get a sense that you're breathing not from your chest but from your diaphragm, slow outward breaths, feeling relaxed, feeling that you have the resources to handle this. Get a sense that the plane is starting to take off, and your inner dialogue is, this was the most challenging bit, and I'm already over this bit. I've done this, which means the rest of it I can also do. And then I wonder what it would be like if you imagine that there is someone from your long, distant past, someone that used to care for you, someone that used to protect you, someone that used to keep you safe. I want you to imagine they are watching over you. They're watching over you to ensure you are safe, and feel that feeling of safety. I want you to get a sense that they're looking after you and tap into that feeling of being looked after. Feeling that they are making sure this flight will be fine for you. You focus on whatever you focus on. Maybe you sleep, maybe you watch TV shows. And sometimes what can happen when you get lost in either sleep or when you're focused on something intently, you can have time distortion, and perhaps that 14 hours didn't feel like 14 hours at all. Maybe it was gone in just a few moments, and then before you know it, you're hearing an announcement to make your seat upright, to make sure your seatbelt is buckled, as you'll be landing soon. And straight away your inner dialogue is positive anticipation, excitement that before you know it, you're at your destination, where you get to do all those amazing things that perhaps a different part has been planning for you. And I want you to think about all of those amazing things you will be able to do, you'll get to do in the days or weeks that follow from landing. Just imagine doing those things, being in those places in a first person, that you're actually there, enjoying those moments, feeling the sun on your skin, the smell of flowers in a garden. Perhaps seeing an old house from childhood or a previous time, meeting people you haven't seen in a long while, trying foods you've never tasted before, and just get a sense that the part of you that feels confident, resourceful and strong is still in control. You can handle this, you know it, and that part also knows it. I want to communicate now to the wisest part of your subconscious mind, the part that is aware of all the strengths and weaknesses of every single part of your subconscious mind. And when I'm speaking to that part, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to be the conductor in this orchestra, to make sure that the most useful, resourceful parts are in control in the most relevant places. The part that gets nervous or anxious is fine if it helps you prepare, but don't allow them to be the one that boards the plane. The version that boards the plane is the resourceful, confident part that can be composed even in a crisis, and you know that part exists. The part that nothing phases. And if you're aware of which parts need to be in the right places at the right time, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. You're the conductor, these parts are your orchestra, and you will make wonderful music on this upcoming flight. And then imagine, it's now time for the return flight, and the return flight seems to be so much easier because you know the right parts are in the right places at the right time, and you notice that you've really not thought too much about this flight. Before you know it, it's time to board the plane, and don't be surprised if you sleep on the way back. Before you know it, you've landed, and then back to your job, back to your life, with a deep sense that something has changed. I want you to accept the suggestion that not if, but once you feel that this is within your capabilities, then all future flights will also feel that they're within your capabilities. Because you've traveled on a 14-hour flight there and back, therefore anything under 14 hours is well within your capabilities. You will also entertain a seed of an idea that if I've changed this area of my life, then it gives me evidence that powerful, positive change is not just possible, but inevitable when you decide to play to your strengths and be the most resourceful version of you possible. If all parts of the subconscious mind agree that this is an opportunity for freedom, not just to get to destinations, but to steer your life in a powerful, positive direction, let me know by nodding your head. Find yourself back there in the countryside near the coast, and see that anxious part has been busy studying or researching all the most amazing things that you can do in amazing destinations. And that from this point forward, they might help you prepare, because that's the purpose of worry, to prepare for those things that you can change. But you won't want that worrying part being in control when you board the plane. That would be like a nervous part being in control when you're doing a stressful job, when you're dealing with a crisis. It doesn't happen in your work. Why would you want it to happen in your leisure time? Accept that you have multiple different parts to your personality, and when it comes to flying, the strongest, most resourceful part will be the part that takes the lead position, and in doing so enables any feelings of tension to be replaced with feelings of strength and safety, knowing that all along someone from your past is looking after you to keep you safe. And now it's time to return to the present, bringing all the parts back into the moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Get a sense that you're in your own physical body right now, all parts fully in the present, allowing the wisest part to be the conductor of an orchestra to enable the most useful, empowered parts to be in control at exactly the right moments to give you a wonderful experience, an empowering experience, making incredible memories and giving you evidence that you can take more control of your life in powerful ways, starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.